This video is brought to you by Hiawatha Hobbies. Hiawatha has you covered for all your model railroading needs, whatever scale or era you model. They have everything from Z to G. Be sure to check them out at the link in the description and use code SD40-2F at checkout to receive 5% off your next order. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Bowser Executive Line SD40-2F with ESU LokSound. The GMD SD40-2F is a diesel-electric locomotive built by General Motors Diesel. It was fundamentally an SD40-2 in a CAL unit full-width body. A total of 25 units were built solely for the Canadian Pacific Railway and were delivered between 1988 and 1989. The engines were CP's only CAL units and have been nicknamed Big Red Barns by rail fans. The locomotives are numbered 9000 to 9024 and were the only new locomotives to be delivered to the CPR in the Action Red paint scheme. Two engines, numbered 9000 and 9022, have been repainted into the dual flag paint scheme. In 2015, the CM&Q, or the Central Maine and Quebec Railway, acquired 10 of the engines from CP, and in mid to late 2016, CP retired all of the remaining units, although the CM&Q continued to run them until June 4th of 2020, when the CM&Q was purchased out by CP, which is interesting because the CP barns went from CP to CM&Q, and now they're back operating on the CP system. Retail on this model is $319.95, but you can pick one up at Hiawatha Hobbies at the link in the description for $239.99. Starting on the front of the locomotive, you have Katy No. 5 knuckle couplers, air hoses, and MU hoses, LED-equipped ditch lights, and a separately applied plow. Right above that, you have the MU stand and handrails, which are very sturdy. You also have grab irons all up this side of the locomotive, number boards on each side, and the LED-equipped headlight. These class lights are illuminated, and they go from clear to red to green. There's also a grab iron on each side of the nose here and one here. Here are the sand filler hatches, and then the cab-mounted bell. Here are the windshield wipers, which look very good, and there are wire grab irons above that. Moving down to the side of the locomotive, you have the locomotive number right here, the cab windows, which look very good, and there is a separately applied mirror right here. There's also the reflective dots that are on most Canadian locomotives on the sill. Moving back a little farther, you can see the small windshield wiper that's applied on the rear window, and all of the radiator vents, which look very good and are slightly see-through. Here's the CP rail logo, and there's a small porthole right here, which you can see through. Moving down to the radiator section, these are separately applied etched metal grates on top of the radiator. On the rear of the locomotive, you have the same stripes that are on the front, which are super sharp and don't have any voids or overspray on them. There's also the locomotive number up on the top. There's also the LED illuminated rear light, another door that has a porthole on it with a small fire extinguisher logo on the bottom. You also have the handrails, which are very, very sturdy. You have the MU stand right here, and then moving down, you have air hoses again, spare knuckle couplers, and a Katy No. 5 coupler. Moving up to the top of the locomotive, you have the dynamic brake hatch, which has an etched metal grate on top of an etched metal fan, and you also have your separately applied antennas on top of the cab. Moving back a little farther, you can see all of these lift rings that go along the entire cowl of the locomotive, which look very good. Here's the exhaust stack and the separately applied brass horn. Moving to the radiator section, you have a fan with a winterization hatch on it, and then two separately applied fans, which are see-through and look really good. Moving to the trucks of the locomotive, you can see that there's separately applied brake piping on all of the trucks, and many separately applied details that add to the look of the trucks. Also looking on the frame, there's some cast-in traction motor wiring and air lines. Moving to the fuel tank, you have all of these details which are painted red to make them stand out just like they are on the prototype. There's also a separately applied air tank right here. On the engineer's side rear truck, there's a separately applied metal chain, which looks very good. On the engineer's side, there's also steps in the fuel tank to get up to the door, which is right here, which has separately applied metal grab irons on each side. Overall, this Bowser model both looks good and sounds good. Currently, Bowser is the only manufacturer making the EMD version of the CAL units. While running this locomotive, I did notice some driveline noise, but I'm sure that would go away if you run the locomotive in properly. They also make a CM&Q version, which I was not able to get a hold of at the time of this review, but that unit also looks very, very good. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. Be sure to check out Hiawatha Hobbies at the link in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.